What if I told you that one of the most underrated rivalry games in all of college football is happening in the heart of Texas this upcoming weekend? And that rivalry game that I'm talking about is the I-35 showdown that's going to take place between Texas State and UTSA out in the Alamo Dome in San Antonio. And that's going to be kicking off at 3:30 Eastern on ESPN Plus, as both teams are going to be looking to try to set a strong tone in preparation for their respective conference slates, as well as the fact that this is going to be one of the several CFP elimination games that we'll see throughout the course of Saturday. First and foremost, how about the Texas State Bobcats? They are not only carrying the momentum of back-to-back winning seasons under the head coach GJ Kinn, but we also saw opponent duo really emerge already in the early going of the college football season. As Brad Jackson and Lincoln Pear, that is turning quickly into a dynamic duo who helped the Bobcats create some major fireworks last Saturday with over 600 yards of total offense, as the duo helped accounted for 5 total touchdowns in a 52-27 win over Eastern Michigan that ultimately knocked the Eastern Michigan Eagles out of CFP contention. And of course, helping set a tone for this rivalry game matchup, because UTSA, they're certainly not going to be scrubs either. UTSA coming in with Jeff Traylor's squad might be looking for a little bit of a reset, trying to avoid that 0-2 start after playing against Texas A&M. Did play them tough, and Owen McCown, he had a pretty solid game. Not a liquid or a gas by any means, even though he was playing in one of the toughest environments in all of college football. But because there was multiple defensive breakdowns that happened over the course of that game, that was how the Aggies were able to pull away in the second half. So really what I'm looking for in this game, I think this is going to be one of those matchups where we do expect to see really a fast-paced offense, really an offensive-oriented type of game, seeing that classic shootout in the heart of Texas, where you really see that momentum that Texas State is carrying, going up against the aerial experience that UTSA has, led by Owen McCown, who's been starting is a multi-year starter, should be making for a classic and a rivalry game that might have some emotions run high at certain points of the ball game, right? Because from a historical standpoint, maybe we are seeing a little bit of a changing of the guard. I mean, we're talking about UTSA. They historically have had the better of Texas State over the course of this rivalry game, because we have seen Texas State down 5-1 in this series. UTSA has won all but one game in the series. But then Texas State, they were able to break through massively last year, able to crush them 49-10 last fall. But when push comes to shove at the end of the day, when I'm looking at this particular matchup, I think UTSA is too good of a football team to be blown out like that again. And I think UTSA is also too good to falter down to 0-2 to begin the 2025 campaign. Let's go ahead and check out the model real fast just to see what our internal power rating metrics are thinking right now. And while FanDuel has this a much tighter game at 4.5 points, the model is actually significantly higher than what FanDuel is right now, with that model showing them as a 10.5 point favorite in terms of the I-35 showdown matchup. Now, do I think it gets to a point where UTSA wins by multiple possessions? Probably not. I mean, that's the beauty of rivalry games. You really never know what's going to happen, and even teams that really have no business in competing in rivalry games ended up making it much more competitive than anticipated. So don't think it's going to be a comfortable win by any means for UTSA. But I do think that Owen McCown and his boys through the air, I think are going to ultimately be too much for Texas State at the end of the game. So for me, I'll say give me UTSA getting that very first win of the year, winning 35-30 in what should be a really exciting shootout in the I-35 rivalry.